Well, hello, my name is Philip Brand. I'm the pastor of Farmington Baptist Church, and this is,
Seth Parnell.
yeah, he works here with me. He's my assistant, and so I'm glad that he's with us today. The reason for this video is several people have asked me about how we're doing drive-in church and the pros and cons and how we're actually doing it and some of the details. Recently, Paul Hill messaged me on our SYBA Facebook page and asked me some questions about it. So I thought the best way to do this was kind of a video. And so I invited Seth to come along and help us with this. I do want to let you know that if you're looking for a smooth, congruent outline, I'm not going to give that to you today, but we are going to give you some points that we just jotted down real quick in the last 5 minutes to kind of get this video out just in case you're trying to do it this Sunday. First of all, if you're wondering about a pro, I think a pro is being able to see people.
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah, so our experience has been that people wave at each other, and they're very encouraged because they're together, and it starts with people excited. During it, people are excited, and when they leave, they're just very, very much so encouraged. Wouldn't you say?
I would say so.
Yeah.
Lots of horn honking.
Lots of horn honking, yeah. And also, we lead worship during it. And Seth said that he heard people singing.
Yeah, have their windows rolled down. They're singing right there in their cars. It's really cool.
Yeah, so it's really neat how all that happens. So I believe that the church isn't just me and my family sitting at home. I think the church is my family meeting with another family. I think a church is a body, not just one individual person. So that's why we are pushing to kind of keep the church together. If you're wondering about our schedule, we do drive-in church at 9:15. It ends around 10:15. And then I go home, actually, and we do a live stream from my house for the worship service that we do, and that's another video if you want to know about how we do all that. But that's the schedule. I'll tell you this: it's different preaching in a drive-in church because you can't really see the people unless they are on the back of their truck bed or unless they are. They have the back hatch open, right? You can see them then, but majority you're just looking at the front of their windshields the whole time, and it is sort of different when you're preaching. You need to be elevated when you're doing this. We have now used 2 trailers, right?
Yeah.
And this coming Sunday, we're actually getting another trailer that puts me another 4 feet up above, so that people can see in the back. The more cars you get, the higher you really need to be because of the distance and them trying to see you to make it needful. Mm-hmm. Do you have anything to add to that?
Yeah. So obviously parking itself, I mean, that's how you quote unquote seat people. Mm-hmm. So you want to make sure that they're parked in such a way that they can see the speaker, see the stage. We've had to really look at our parking lot. Every parking lot's different. It's all unique. So whatever is at your church is going to be different than what we do, but we want to make sure that they're in such a way that they have a way that they can come in and go out, but also we curve them so not everyone's in the lines. They're curved in such a way that it's like a amphitheater or stadium seating, or like our drive-in theater, so that they can actually see the stage. And so we have a couple people. We'll have someone at the very front entrance send them to different people to park them, but they will manually park them into their different spots. So that's a little different. You can't just pull into an actual parking spot because you may not be able to see. And so visual, we're trying to get the optimal visual, but of course when you get more people in, it's kind of first come, first serve. If you can't see, at least you can hear. But that's why we're trying to get the trailer to go a little bit higher, get him elevated.
Seth has done a good job at making sure that the trucks are in the back and the little cars are in the front. They really try to make sure that is done correctly so people can see. And what about the sun? What could you tell them about the sun, Seth?
Yeah, the sun's an issue. So you want to make sure that they're not looking directly into the sun. That we realized that our parking lot, we could shift it, and it actually would be a little more optimal to park more people, and they could use the spots. But the problem is, in the backdrop, the sun is right behind Pastor Philip as he's preaching. So looking into the sun, I mean, I guess you could use really thick sunglasses, but it's still not a great idea.
So let's talk a little bit about the worship stage. Of course, it's a trailer that we're using, but we also put a background behind us. We have a screen that's 10 foot by 8 foot.
Yeah.
Wouldn't you
like
say?
that.
And so that screen is behind me. It's kind of a gray background. That way I don't get lost, or the people on stage don't get lost in like the stuff outside, the church building or the trees behind you. You need something solid behind you if you can do that. Worship music, we actually produce lyrics on a sheet of paper like a bulletin, like you would use as a bulletin. We give that to each car as they come in. Sometimes you give them two, right?
Yeah, this Sunday we're going to try to give 2. That way, if they have a full car, front row, back row, they can all share.
They can all share. On that is information such as the where to turn on their FM radio to, because we use an FM transmitter. We transmit on 93.7 FM because that works in our area. And so they turn their FM radio on to that station, and they can hear everything that's happening on stage through their radio because it's transmitted to them. I mean, if you need more technical information on that, just message me and I'll help you out with that. But that's how we do worship. Currently, it's just really 2 instruments. My wife played the piano. It's a little keyboard on Sunday and sang. And then a guy named Scott Johnson played his guitar with a microphone on Sunday. So we keep that kind of simple. So it's not a big band, but it's still worship time and it's still live, right? And then after they do 3 songs, I jump up and I preach. So that has gone really well. They do honk their horns during an amen, which I think is really, really neat. And if I ask them to do something, they'll flash their lights. I'll ask them to flash their lights if they have seen this movie or did this. So I kind of try to gauge a response that way. But it is a little bit different preaching to that environment. So be ready for that. Talk to us a little bit about signups.
Yeah, we use we use a program called Planning Center, and that's how we have all of our people. They basically through the registrations app, they sign up their car. It's not their whole family they're signing up. It's just their car themselves. That way, we know how many cars are going to be coming. And last Sunday, we tried to cap it at 60. We had roughly 55 cars in the parking lot. We think we can pack some more in. So we're just going to put the cap on 80 cars in our parking lot. And we'll just see how that goes.
But it is nice to know who's coming, and we know who's going to bring a truck. So we can start thinking through that. We know who's going to bring a van, and we can think through that. But before you think that we have it all planned before it gets here, we don't. Actually, Seth and his team, the car pulls up and then they point them to where they need to go. And if it's a truck, it's on the back, and if it's a car, it's in the front. So that's how they do that. We do have a tithe bucket. I'll be honest, this is not something that I did right up front the first time that we tested this. But we felt like that giving is a worship act. And so we have one guy that has a bucket that people pass by on their way out, and they can give at that time. So we do provide that opportunity. I will also say that we also have online giving, and people are actually mailing their checks into the church. So they're doing that. But I think that worship moment where people can actually worship with their tithes and offerings at the location, I think is something that we wanted to provide. I do not like the idea of going to each car for the offering. I think that's a little too much. I think then people may start thinking that you're doing it for the money. And to be honest, if you're doing this for the money, you're doing it for the wrong reason. I think we do this because the church needs to get together, and we need to hear the word of God, and we need to be a good testimony to our community. So the bucket is just on their way out. If they want to give, if they don't want to give, they can drive on past. It is no big deal. Security. We have a security team, as I realize most of our churches do now. Currently, we're only running one security guard because of what we're doing in the parking lot, so he keeps an eye on everything in the parking lot. I would encourage your security team not to walk in between the cars during the message or during the worship. They really just need to keep a perimeter. around and just keep that watched. I don't think anything is really going to happen during this time, but you never know, and at least that security guard is there. Someone has asked me, do the kids stay in the cars? Do they go somewhere else? Yes, the kids stay in the cars. And if you're worried about that a little bit, from our experience, all the kids that are coming think that it's the greatest thing since what? Sliced bread? I think that's the old saying.
Some actually, I've seen have brought bowls of popcorn.
Yeah.
Sit there and eat the popcorn during the message. So.
Yeah, so they stay in their cars and they've had a good time, and they actually talk about it at home. I've had reports of people talking about their kids talking about the experience at home. So that's pretty neat. It also tells the kids that church is important and getting together is important, and if there's any way we can work it out to do that, and that meets the law and meets safety requirements, I think we go for it to the best of our ability. Bathrooms, you need to think through that because there's going to be people that need to go to the bathroom. We are changing this week to where people go to the bathroom in our other building and not our main building. We're going to point them in that direction. That way we can sanitize it and kind of keep it a little tighter than we did this past Sunday. Also, where we're doing it, if people go to the bathroom, they can actually walk out and walk right past the stage to their car. So we want to prevent that from happening too. We have found that people stay in their cars. We have found that people are very respectful of what we're doing. We have found that people are thrilled that we are given this opportunity and they are excited about the next one. The big question that I got after this particular week is, after the shelter in place, will we be able to do it again? As far as I know, in reading through the governor's, what do you call it? The governor's his executive order. You can drive to church, you can stay in your car at church, and then you can drive home. So you can have as many people as you want as long as they stay in their cars. So if there are any other questions that you might have, you can email me at bobbvestal, BOBVESTAL, @me.com, or you can just message me through Facebook if you're watching this on Facebook, and I'll do the best I can to help you out. And I know if it's not something I can answer, Seth is here too and more than willing to help you any way that we can. So God bless you, and I hope that this helped, and grace and peace to you, and may this Sunday be one of the best Sundays you've ever had. All right, have a good one.